Hi, this is Tom Sovich with Hawk Performance. A couple things right off the bat before we get started. If this is your first brake job, please do not try to attempt it yourself just based on our instructions here. Either go to a professional mechanic to have the installation done, or at the very least, get a professional repair manual that'll take you through very detailed step-by-step instructions to make sure everything is done safely. What we want to accomplish in this video is, number one, talk to you about pad selection, and number two, cover a few very important but overlooked steps that sometimes people leave out during a brake job that can affect performance. Okay, let's go right to pad selection. Number one thing that all three of these compounds have in common is they all use high temperature resins, which means that under severe braking situations, maybe you're going up and down hills, really heating up your pads, all of these compounds will perform well at elevated temperatures. Some lower grade pads, what will happen is as you're braking and really heating your brakes up, you lose braking efficiency. So just when you need your brakes the most, the stopping power starts to fade away. In all these compounds, you'll maintain a good high level of braking. Your HPS compound is ideally suited for passenger vehicles and general automotive applications. As you go into slightly higher gross vehicle weight, light trucks, SUVs, those types of things, the LTS compound is specially formulated for having the slightly higher inertia vehicles. Severe duty compound, we really do not recommend this except in applications where you're doing a lot of heavy towing, you've got a very heavily weighted truck where you're loading up a lot of materials all the time in it. You're in a situation where this material is specially formulated for those very, very high inertia applications. For all your lighter duty applications, you'll get a much better performance with either HPS or LTS. Okay, now that we're done with pad selection, let's move on to the install. Okay, we finished our pad selection. Now it's time to start with the brake job. First step in the process is to push the pistons back into the caliper. Okay? For that, we use a C-clamp. Place it on the outside of the brake pad and start tightening the piston, clamp down. As you can see, the pistons are getting forced back into the caliper. Okay? We'll repeat that same process on the other side. Okay, you know when the pistons are back in the housing, when the backing plate is flush against the casting of the caliper. Next step is to remove these pins. And we could quickly and easily remove the old brake pads. Okay, now that the pad's out, it's very easy at this point to just install two new pads, button things up, and we're done. While your brakes will work, the downside about doing that is if you look at your brake rotor, the old brake pad that you just took out of there actually put down a very light transfer film on that rotor. If you don't remove that old transfer film, either by turning that down with a lathe or starting with a brand new rotor, what you could have is one of two problems. You could end up with a brake noise, kind of a squealing sound that develops, or also sometimes you could have a judder start to occur where you actually feel a vibration as you hit the brake. So we're going to go ahead and complete the process by taking the caliper and rotor off and replacing those as well. Okay, next step in our process is to remove the caliper. There's just two mounting bolts, and they're hidden from the camera. They're located behind these pistons. So you have to reach around and break them loose. And once they're loose, you should be able to back them out by hand. Now, one thing I want you to notice is that once we get the bolts out, we're going to make sure we're supporting this caliper at all times. The reason for that is, see this rubber hose, this is our brake line coming down. We don't want to do anything that put any stress on that line to potentially tear it. So I'm holding the caliper, I've got my last bolt out, and pick the caliper up, and take an old coat hanger, slide it right through our hole there, and find a member on the vehicle that we could tie it to take all that stress out of the line. Okay.